Hello, welcome back to the Real South Africa. Make sure you love and subscribe to this channel. We have a great interview we did with a brother who came to South Africa single by himself. Has a great story, so check it out. You will love it.
To the VA waterfront or the watershed when you go buy some art, go eat, go listen to the free performances. You know, I got to walk around the Silo district. I heard about the Silo district. Yeah. I tried to go to the rooftop bar at the Silo Hotel, but the brother was like, "Hey man, it's rented out tonight for a private event." But he gave me his card. He's like, "Hey, if you're in town tomorrow, call me. I'll get you up there." But I was leaving. Yeah. So I mean, they're just willing to just take care of you. Like, man, it's I'll get you up there. I didn't get to go over to Utopia, but it was just like he's like, "Man, come back tomorrow. Give me a call. I'll get you up. I'm gonna be out of town." He's like, "Okay, next time you come, just let me know. If you want to see the rooftop, I'll get you. I'll take care of you." You want to just have that time to walk around because there's so many moments of you may want to reflect. You may just kick back and relax, man, and just slow down because South Africa really will allow you to slow down. Yeah, sometimes it's hard for me to slow down. South Africa really, you could just slow down, just sit like at Mandela Square. I could just sit out there and just do nothing and feel good. At the VA waterfront, I could just sit out there and do nothing. Same as in Durban at the beach. Mm-hmm. Was that Wells Pier, right? Just sit on the pier right there, Wellbones Pier. You just sit there and just chill out. Y'all, I bought a kite. I'm a grown man, and it was a brother flying a kite on the beach at Durban. He looked so relaxed. I said, I'm a big old kid. I was like, man, you just look so relaxed. I'm gonna buy me a kite. It's been too hot to fly, but he was just on the beach flying a kite. He looked so relaxed, running through the sand. I was like, man, I need that. I need me a kite. Let me get a kite. So,
he had on the Speedos and everything.
No, bro. It was just like he was just on the beach, just living it up, just minding his business. So I saw families out there taking pictures. I saw a group of people doing a religious ceremony in the water. And it's like I was just sitting out there, just chilling, man. It was so nice.
It's funny when you take all of that in. Yeah. As an American, you're like, oh, this is what it means to slow down, relax, get all in. Mm-hmm. And it really puts your life in the U.S. into perspective because you think that you're relaxing when you have your weekend off. And the truth is all you're doing is getting ready for Monday.
Yes.
You're not really taking any time to yourself. You're not having time to freely think and contemplate anything because you're so, I want to use the word stressed. Yeah. But here you get to take all that up and you spent almost 2 full weeks here. Yes. So, I mean, just having that time to, I like to use the word reset and reconnect. Yeah. It definitely does something to you and you want that more often than not, which is why I'm thinking that 13 days after you got back, you're like, I need that in my life again.
I can feel it. You can actually feel it. I mean, I came back. Just I'll walk you through my way home. So I said I'm a vacation. It's birthday month. I'm a vacation to the very last minute.
There you go.
Uh-huh. I milked it. I milked it completely. So I had some miles. And so I was able to upgrade my seat with my miles going home. So I got a really nice seat. And with that, I was able to go into the like Delta Club. It's not a Delta Club. They have a partnership with a lounge in South Africa. So I went in there, had me some food, got me a back massage. I'm living it. I'm just living it up. Had a wonderful flight. Had my own little suite, the Delta One suite. I mean, I'm flat bed. So I'm living it up. I get back to the States and I'm about to check in because I flew from Joburg to Atlanta. I'm about to go from Atlanta to Dallas. And I think I text Tasha this and Tuani. Right then, I see an older white guy threatening to call the airport security on the black worker. It's like, I just come from paradise. And it just reminds me, right in the state. And it was a young brother too. And I was just shaking my head. And he was making such a scene in the airport. I was like, man, I don't want to see this mess. I've been in Africa living it up for 2 weeks and I come back to the States and got that reminder just that quick. I mean, it was like, yep, I'm back. But then I was struggling. So when I got back to Dallas, I was in a funk again. I was like, man, I can't believe this. So I called my Lyft and thank God it was a sister. I heard the accent and she was from Zimbabwe. So we started talking. I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better again. Good Lord, help me out. He saw me fade. He saw me fading fast. I was like, man, I get back to the States, and the first thing I see is this older white man threatening to call the airport security on this young brother just for doing his job. I was like, man, I don't want to deal with this mess. I went back to work. I had 562 emails to work through. So I was struggling. That's why I emailed you. Matter of fact, I made it back the 15th. We had our annual Juneteenth celebration on the 17th, so that was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I emailed you the 18th. That next day, I said, Tasha, I need to ask you some questions. So I don't think so I didn't officially book until 2 weeks, but I think I was emailing you within 3 or 4 days.
Oh yeah. But it was so funny. You emailed me on a Thursday or Friday, and I don't answer emails on Friday. You got to forgive me. I don't answer emails on Friday. And
you already told me that. You already told me you don't answer emails. You take the weekend off, so I knew you wasn't going to answer. I was like, I'm going to send it anyway. Yeah. So.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I worked through all this. 562 emails and then work drama. I was like, I can't believe I'm back at this stuff.
Yeah. And people do it every day and don't take a break, and they do it every day.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's rough. So shout out to the sister earlier who said Drakensberg, the resort. I didn't go to the resort, but I did go to the Drakensberg Mountains.
Yes,
we did the Sani Pass.
Yeah.
So I went from the beach, and it was snowing up in Lesotho that day, and I didn't dress appropriately. I was like, oh man, get me back to the beach. But that temperature drop, it's a beautiful, the mountains were endless. And once again, it was just me and the tour guide. So one-on-one. So we were able to take our time, no rush. We stopped at the highest pub in Africa. We didn't linger too long because the snow started to come down. I was like, man, I don't want to get stuck. He's like, no, before we get halfway down, the snow will stop. But just to think, within Africa, you could go from the beach to the snow in one day. Yeah. But she's right. Drakensberg Mountains are absolutely beautiful.
They're beautiful. The other thing too, I think you've mentioned it quite a couple times. So all of our tours are private. So if it's you and your family, then you and your family will have a guide to yourself. And we do that for a number of reasons. We don't want anybody else to impact your experience. We don't want you to have any outside noise. We don't want you to have a bunch of people with different personalities, clashing. So we do that on purpose because we want you to have a private, intimate experience, because a lot of people go through emotions that they really don't know how to express in words. And if you're getting that emotional, which we say that because we've been through all those emotions. Mm-hmm. We want you to be able to do that without feeling some type of way, and you can do that if you've got a guide that is, empathetic and can say, okay, let you call an audible if it gets to be too heavy at the Apartheid Museum or gets to be too heavy in a lot of the places that you go to, because sometimes it is definitely heavy when you go to these museums and actually see the history and realize the parallels of our struggle and theirs. And it makes you feel things you either suppressed or things that you didn't quite understand when it was happening.
Absolutely. And it was heavy. And we did. So in Johannesburg, obviously, I did the Hector Peterson Museum, Soweto with the Mandela House, Apartheid Museum, and that's a lot. That's a lot, especially, and I think I told you walking through the Apartheid Museum, when you look at it, they have a big display and it shows the civil rights moving on one side and apartheid moving on the other side. And like we said, you could tell there was some communication going on because the things that we went through and that they're going through, it's just like, it's absolutely no coincidence. Absolutely not. And we went to, and in Cape Town, I went to Robins Island. Then after Robins Island, Mr. Gavin was like, you want to go to the District 6 Museum? I said, Gavin, brother, I need a drink. I can't do nothing. I didn't know. And it's so funny. Not funny, but it's funny because you realize, you think you have an understanding. There's so much you don't know. I didn't know they had a feeding system within Robins Island where the Indians got more food. Then the colors got, second amount, and the black prisoners, they got the least amount of food, and sometimes they didn't even get solid food. Forgot what he called it, but it's like a porridge, just like a mix. So even down to the way the amount of food they fed the prisoners, it was systematic. So everything was strategic, and that I didn't know that there was never any white prisoners in Robbins Island. It was only Indian, colored, and black prisoners. So.
Yeah,
and what they told us, which would have been a crime shame, they said at one point before they turned it into a museum, they were considering tearing it down and just making a high-end resort. I think that would have been a terrible loss if that island would have ended up being a resort and not an actual museum.
Stuff. You know how it works.
Yes.
When they want to undo some stuff.
Never happened. It never happened. So,
you've seen that happen.
I couldn't handle any more heavy history that day. I was like, Mr. Gavin, I can't do it today.
I need a drink.
I need to kind of relax and let it soak in.
No, I understand that.
So I assume that you see what we're doing here in trying to acclimate those in the diaspora to South Africa in a manner like we do, because you need to come on a level like you came in. Your vehicles were waiting on you, your places that you were staying. You wasn't concerned. They were extremely nice. The food that you consume, you need to feel that South Africa. And the reason why I say that way, because there are those that come here and they never see that part of South Africa.
Yeah,
they don't even know it's available to them. And if you put it in front of them with their American way they think, they're like, oh, well, I'm not going over there because that's really nice. So I'm not going to go over there. I'm trying to find a little hood spot. There's nothing wrong with hood spots, but you can, if you choose, do it proper, as I like to say.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the drivers. So even let's say if I'm going from, my hotel to Gold or wherever, so the drivers are so qualified, they'll give you a tour, within the itinerary. So they were driving me around town. So even I knew I was going from point A to point B, they were explaining to me everything in between. Like, I think it was Nathan, I got to go, because I mentioned the old biscuit mill. He's like, yeah, that's on the other side of town, but we had some free time. So we just did a driving tour. He showed me Woodstock and a lot of the different neighborhoods within Cape Town. Went to the Bocab. I always mess it up. Bocab, I think. Bocab. Bocab. I drove through that neighborhood. I mean, one day we stopped and just had just a casual lunch. Nando's. We just got some chicken and rice from Nando's,
There you go. Some quick
chicken and rice. It's some real chicken and rice from Nando's. But you just stop and just talk to people. Anytime you get to interact with the people, it just was, I even made a few of them laugh, in Durban. I was trying to, greet them in Zulu in the barbershop. They were clowning on me and they were just cracking on me in the barbershop. I said, it's the same thing we do in the States. We talk smack in the barbershop.
Yeah.
They told me, they said, brother, your tongue is too stiff. I was like, oh, no, okay. But yeah, I got a haircut, just hung out in the barbershop. It was right across from the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And that mall had a beautiful, the grocery stores were beautiful. The Woolworths. It's a beautiful grocery. It's like, this is a grocery.
Crazy, yeah.
Beautiful. So I was just, it's just everything. I mean, you literally have everything at the mall. And Tasha even told me how to even, don't bring cash with you. You don't need to do that. You don't want to pay any high conversion rates at the airport. Come over here, notify your bank. You go to this bank. Don't select this option when you're withdrawing money, so you make sure you're getting the best conversion rate. I mean, I didn't have to worry about anything. I mean, everything was taken care of. So
it was a good birthday.
It was just, I didn't have a care in the world, and I definitely didn't think about work at all.
So this sounded like, I'm just gonna make it just with you, based off what you're saying. It sounded like you had a really good immersion into South Africa, a true immersion, not just because you said before you came on a vacation and you did this. It was a vacation, but you came here because so when we say tour, we want you to tour it.
Yeah.
And some people look at us like, I don't want to be a tourist. I'm like, you need to understand that you need to come as a tourist the way that we do it. So you can have these levels of conversation. So let me talk about like the as you say, the drivers.
Yeah.
Let me explain something to you. and the people that are listening, you know, I vet pretty much everything. Everything that happens is this is what's going to happen next, as far as like who interact with you and who don't interact with you, right? Here's my thing. I'm really happy that you really appreciate the drivers, because first of all, not YouTube, but a Uber driver wouldn't have done any of those things for you at all. But people they pay all that money to come here to sit in an Uber, and they're not gonna get anything. They're gonna pass by stuff. They'll never know what it was or what happened. So I make it a point to make sure that we have that work with us, all qualified guides. They drive, of course, but they're qualified guides. And I think about 4 or 5 times you refer to your guide as the person who took care of you and showed you along the way. And so that's the beauty of what we do.
Absolutely. I mean, they all have their official badges. You can see they have their official guide badge. I mean, they were all just, I mean, I can ask them questions about anything, and sometimes they say, you know, I can tell you about it, or we could just go. We have time. And I was like, well, okay, let's go. You know, and that's how I was able to do the paragliding, because I said, hey, there's something I want to do. He said, we have time. Let's drive up. He said, if there's a spot open, we'll go. And just when I got up there, they were like, hey, a spot just open. I was like, oh, okay, it's meant to be. It's meant to be. So,
he sent him a WhatsApp. Make sure
that's right. That's right. He whatever he did, he took care of me. So I mean, there's so much, and I'm glad. So obviously, you can tweak the itinerary. I'm glad I didn't tweak it, because I said, you know what, whatever Tasha puts together, I'm just gonna roll with it. I've been to Gold before. I've been to Table Mountain before. I said, you know what? Sometimes it's not just a check, you know, one and done, because I had a good time at Gold last year, but this time I don't know what. I think I'm telling Twan and a few others, I don't know what was going on. There were 2 long tables downstairs. I sat upstairs, which I think I like better now, sitting upstairs. But there were 2 long tables full of sisters. I don't know where they were from. But I tell you, the energy they had in Gold, I had a better experience this year than I did last year. It was rocking. So if you're on the call and you were at Gold Wednesday, June the 7th, thank you. They were bringing it. I mean, the drums, the singing, it was absolutely amazing. I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't take Gold off the list. I mean, if you go once a year, you know, I would say give it it is so fun. They do a great job at Gold.
Yeah. You know? Well, I will tell you, you are falling in another category as a repeat offender.
I know it.
You're a repeat offender.
Right. I tried to hold out. I said, you know what? I want to come in February. It's a summer, you know, but you know, because everybody's like it's less crowded. I was like, man, I don't know if I can make the February though. I was like, how about this? What if I could go and learn about the real estate and still have fun? So I in my mind, I said, this is not just a vacation. This is a conference / food trip. You know, I justified it to myself.
There's no wrong with that. Whatever you got to make yourself feel better. Because
then I was like, you know, maybe I'll wait until the Jazz Fest next year. I said, I can't do it. I'm going back this year.
Yeah, the Jazz Festival, the dates are out too. So, but the Jazz Festival will also be in February. I won't be surprised if you find your way back in February. If you do, it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah,
it's going to be so much fun.
So I know there's a lot of people who haven't been here. They don't understand the fuss. They're trying to compare it to Jamaica, Hawaii, Mexico. Can you put a little light on that? Can you make it compare?
My family's on. I love Hawaii. I've gone to Hawaii with a group. I've gone to Hawaii by myself. I love the Caribbean. I think it's some of the most beautiful water in the world. Beautiful people. But once again, I've never thought about actually, you know, buying property there or moving there. I mean, it's just something about it. You know, Hawaii, like I said, it's beautiful. The mountains and the ocean. You think about the Caribbean, absolutely beautiful. With South Africa, it's funny. It's like I can get all of that within South Africa. I get the mountains, I get the ocean, I get the beautiful people, I get the amazing food. But once again, it goes back to something I can't do a good job of articulating. It's that feeling. Once again, when people tell you, hey, welcome home, they know it's not your home, but they say, hey, man, I want you to feel like home. Welcome home. Yeah. It's just different. I mean, you're a tourist, but for that couple of weeks, you really feel like you're at home, man. It's like, you feel it. I was like, man, so many people have told me welcome home. I actually believe it now. I'm home. So the people, I can't say enough. And throughout the hospitality space, I met some amazing people. And and I love that they were honest, because they said, what are you doing? I tell them what I'm doing. They're like, oh, you're fine. I was like, well, in the States, they say about the scary places. They were like, we have a couple of places, but don't go here, don't go here, don't go here. Everything else, you're fine. Yeah. They're honest, though. They were like, man, you're fine, man. So but it's just funny.
You mentioned staying out of the seedy places.
Yeah.
We specifically understand that if you wanted to go to a seedy place, you could choose it on your own. But we always believe that if you really wanted to go to a seedy place, you would go to the one that's closest to your home where you come from. And most people don't make it a habit of running straight to the seedy place where they come from. Most people stay away from those places anyway. So why travel 9,000 miles to go to the most dangerous places of a city? I mean, we lived in the U.S. We lived, close to D.C. and Baltimore and all those areas. And there's no reason for me to go to the city of it for any reason. So it's like, I don't see the point in you flying this far to go someplace to look at, I don't know, seedy places, or to go and some people ask us, they want to go where they see poor people.
Nope.
And I'm like, you don't go where you live to see poor people. Nope. Like, why do you want to see poverty porn? Like, why would you want to do that? And it's not that those places don't exist, but if you're going to go look at them, start where you are first. And then, start where you are first. Go down.
It's so funny because I speak so highly of South Africa, and one person said, you sound like you're romanticizing it. I said, well, it's not my intention. I'm just telling you my experience. Yeah. So, I mean, if you feel that way, I don't know. If you just feel that way, but I can, show you proof. I mean, I can send pictures and all that, but I can't. I mean, if you don't want to believe how I'm expressing my feelings, then that's on you. I mean, like I said, common sense rules always apply, whether I'm in Dallas, Texas, whether I'm in South Africa, common sense rules apply. I mean, hey, I had an amazing time. I was like, man, I can't believe I'm leaving. I can't believe I'm leaving. I was just stuck. I was like, and here's the thing, I thought it was just going to be a checklist where I check off South Africa and then I go to another country and go to another country and just check off the list. I was like, I felt so good. Let me go back and see if that was real. And like that wasn't real. And I went back. I was like, I feel good again. So let me just learn. I want to go to the real estate tour and learn. As they say, maybe I get a holiday apartment.
Yeah,
I can go holiday in South Africa, but
there you go. Not vacation, but holiday.
Yeah, I get the holiday.
It was different.
It was just like I saw one of the comments. You do just slow down. I didn't realize how much I needed to just slow down, mentally and physically. I was joking with Tasha. I brought my workout clothes. I didn't touch them at all. But I thought about it, bro. Yeah, I thought about it. But then that delicious pinotage said, we're not working out today.
Pinotage.
Yeah. I walked and you can just walk and just enjoy people. It's just amazing. Like I was like, man, something simple as slowing down, going to Signal Hill, sitting at the park, sitting on the beach at Cape Town, sitting in Mandela Square in Joburg. Just sitting doing nothing, I tell people the simple things made me feel just as good as, the quote unquote fancy stuff. So,
yeah. Like last weekend, me and Tasha got together with some people that we know. We went on a hike,
I saw that video. I was jealous.
Oh yeah. Well, once you see the whole video, it gets crazy.
I was jealous. Tasha doing hot yoga and ice baths. I
did. It was just listen.
You know what video that got me the most?
What?
The train, the safari train.
Yeah, you and I are gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
That was absolutely beautiful.
We're gonna talk about that.
Okay. All right. That was a beautiful video.
Ideas for you.
Okay, that was a beautiful video. Absolutely beautiful. Because I love people, and Mark says it all the time. My friends are like, man, I don't want to go out into the safari. Or they will find the most outrageous video, and they were sent, well, this person got out of the car and got bitten by a lion. I was like, they got out of the car. I was like, why are you sending me this video? They were trying to justify not doing a safari. I was like, I love doing game drive. I love Bush Lodge. It is only second to the water as far as tranquility for me. I love the ocean, but the Bush Lodge it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I can't wait to get back to the Bush Lodge and actually stay overnight this time on the tour, right?
And you got to do it right.
Yeah,
you got to do it right.
That's my honestly, people don't know, but that's my number one thing.
Yeah,
my number one thing.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's my number two, right behind the ocean, right behind the water. Bush Lodge is right there. So
but I will get off this live and go to a Bush Lodge if I could right now. Yeah, I can't, but I do a lot of Bush Lodges because I like the 5-star, 4 and 5-star ones. I love a chef. I love a chef coming out explaining to me what he's cooked, and I'm like, I would have never put that together. Oh. And they have some food that I've never eaten before, and then sit there and watch the animals literally while I'm eating, and then stand in some beautiful location, and then plop it in the water, and it's heated, and I'm just looking at the animals. And while I'm doing that, they're saying, what do you want to drink? And I say 2, please, whatever it is. Yes. And they bring me my drink.
Yeah,
whatever.
Oh, it's beautiful. That's where the first place I learned what a sundowner was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they would pick a different spot every day just to watch the sunset. Yeah, and it's so beautiful out. It's just absolutely beautiful. And they would, like you said, take your order, and it's like, and we would do the same thing in the morning. I don't drink coffee, but they would have my tea ready. They would have fresh muffins and croissants, and we would find a spot to watch the sunrise. I was like, sunrise.
And then they take you back to have breakfast again.
That's right. I can have a real breakfast.
Yeah.
Then I can read or relax by the pool or get a nap. And I never miss a game drive. I do morning and evening game drive. I don't miss these single game drives.
Because they're so different. And I always laugh because she was like, I don't want to go on a game drive. And we had tons of people on the last real estate tour that was like, I don't want to go, which was fine. You don't have to go. They're just available if you want to go. And then the people that said they did not want to go went on every single game. They got up in the morning and in the afternoon because the truth is you never know what you're going to see. That's the cool part. And even if you've seen one elephant and you see a herd of them 2 times a day, it's still like you feel like a little kid.
It's magical. It's absolutely magical. Yeah. And I love what Mark said about the food, because I don't do pork, but every restaurant like Gold, but they were like, oh, don't worry, we're halal. Like Gold's like, we're halal. We don't do that. And everybody's like, you tell them what you don't want. I know we have some people vegetarian, vegan. They were like, okay. I mean, it's easy. Okay, you don't do this, you don't eat this. That's fine. We got you.
Yeah. That's how Chris was. He was like, I'm vegan, vegetarian. They made stuff for him, or he found something on the menu.
Stuff that he didn't even know that was available.
I had something I never had before at Seabud. Yeah, it's almost like they took a halftime. They had a palate cleanser. It's like,
yes.
What is that? It's like
give you a little palate cleanser.
Yeah. Then I went right back to grubbing right after the palate cleanser. But obviously, Cape Town, I was eating everything. Cape Town, I was consumed with the fish. I had all kind of fish. It was absolutely amazing. So I think in Cape Town, I got fish pretty much all the time. Oh, except for gold. I had springbok.
Yeah, did you?
I had springbok, and I had some rice. I think it was like Kenyan style. So the springbok and the Kenyan rice was my favorite. She was like, dump it on the plate. I was eating it out of the small bowl. She's like, no, dump it. I dumped it on the plate and I went to work, man. So it was good.
You ate a lot of food.
Ate a lot of food. I was ashamed of myself. I ate a lot of food.
But I love the fact that when you sent me pictures, it was like you felt a little bit guilty about it. And then you were like, I'm
on vacation.
It was like, I'm going home in a couple. I'll go back to the gym when I get home.
I'm suffering in the gym these last couple of weeks. Put it this way.
You're gonna be all right.
Butcher Brothers. Is that the one I sent you?
Butcher Block.
Butcher. It was one in Durban. Butcher Boys.
The Butcher Shop.
Yeah.
Oh, but man, it was. So I had load shedding there for about 30 seconds.
Oh, a whole 30 seconds.
A whole 30 seconds.
Right? It was horrible.
I went on
over there.
Right back on. So I think I experienced load shedding twice. Once, I don't know how long it took. I was in the car, so it didn't impact me. And then in Durban, I was at the restaurant. It was like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand. For example, it's funny. We were in the U.S. when we was in the U.S. for a travel show.
Yeah.
I forgot what city, DC. In DC, we were on a travel show when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so they were going to stop and then South Africa said they're going to stop all the flights coming in. So we got on, even though we wasn't due to get back to a few days, we jumped on the next flight, getting the hell out of it. Like, we cannot stay here. So I stayed on the phone for hours, and finally,
actually, it was 5 hours.
Yeah, and I got this black girl out of, I don't know where she was. All the other people were like, well, you know, we must this and we must that. And I got this black girl. She said, what you trying to do? I said, look, I'm trying to get back to South Africa. She said, okay, I'm not going to fly you through Europe. I'm not going to fly you through here. I'm going to get you back to South Africa. We got back about 4 hours before they shut the gates.
Ooh.
We made it back in South Africa. So we were like, we safe. So we popped in South Africa. But again, all the rhetoric and all the things that were happening in the U.S., South Africa was holding it down.
And we didn't have load shedding that entire time.
Yeah, but it was proper. They did everything like they're supposed to. We lost people, but to look at the U.S. and be sitting here in South Africa and we're actually doing lockdowns, we're actually doing all this stuff, and then we call our friends. They're like, "No, we're doing
I'm going to Home Depot.
Yeah,
I'm doing home renovations." I'm like, "You can go outside."
Y'all can go outside. Like what? But I guess my big point is that eventually they came up with this whole South African variant, and South Africa was just like, hey, we're just letting you guys know there's something out there, just watch out for it. And they tried to make it seem like it was just the most horrible thing.
Yes.
And it was upsetting to us because we're like, no, that's not what's happening at all over here. But the news and ABC, NBC, CNN, so all this stuff, even about load shedding, is so overblown.
Yeah.
Super overblown. But of course,
they got to make it worse.
They want to make it seem like because it's South Africa, it's 10, 12 hours a day with no power everywhere, the whole country. And I'm just like, and the only reason I know this is happening because there are those who email us and they say, hey, I heard it's 12 hours of load shedding every day all over the country. And I'm looking at them like, what are you talking about? But they believe that, you know, so that's why somebody has on this, I put it on the screen. Yeah. Somebody said there is so much propaganda and foolishness to sift through when it comes to what we hear and see about Africa.
True.
And it said that it takes resources like the real South Africa, that's what TRSA stands for, to show us what's real. So all we do is show what we see, and that's what we call the real South Africa. We just show you what we see. Anything beyond that, I'm not familiar with, but so when these 10, 12-hour days, I haven't ran into those yet. But when I do, I will let you know.
I didn't have any of those. Like I said, I had a whole 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds, he poured me another glass of wine. So I wasn't suffering at all. So, no, but it's, that's why your videos are so impactful. I love to see, your vacations, but I love to see the hiking videos or, whatever you do. I mean, you driving the Fast and Furious cars. I mean, just, it allows people to open up, what they think they know about South Africa. And like the brother said, just Africa as a whole. I mean, people are working against a lot of years of propaganda, trying to, remove that blindfold almost. It's like mentally. I put it this way. I told people about South Africa. Hey, man, this is what I did. This is what I saw. They were like, nah, man, I don't know, but I heard this. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm telling you what I experienced firsthand. Your response is what you heard. I was like, you can't beat that. You can't win against that.
You can't. We did that for from 2011 all the way until we moved here, and then 2 years after we moved here, people were still telling us what they heard. I'm like, we've been coming here for 7+ years,
I can't
and
do it.
you still hit me with the what you heard, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you exactly what I'm experiencing, and they're like, that's not valid. You're like, okay, well, I'm done.
I gave up, and you guys fought the good fight. I gave up quick. I was like, y'all not stealing my joy. You know what? Because y'all are. And Mark said something. It was one of the earlier videos when you were talking about COVID. I think two brothers from Atlanta were there. And you said something about, it's almost like some people want you to just stop talking about it. So I was like, you know what? I have a few people, like my aunt is on. I have one of my other buddies. He said, okay, now you really convinced me, because it wasn't like, so it went from why did you go to South Africa to why did you go back to South Africa? And I think the fact that I went back, people were like, okay, all right, now you own to something. Why did you go back? And I tell them, this is why I do. I mean, and now when I committed to the real estate tour, I track the South African currency. I have an email that comes to me every day, shows me the conversion rate, dollar versus rand. I really want to learn everything. I'm looking at the types of places, like you said, apartment, home. They even have it where you can, buy a place and rent it back to the hotel, like that beautiful apartment I stayed in Durban. So it's like, okay, I don't have to pick up and move tomorrow. But what if I buy a place and maybe it's an investment property? I don't know what that looks like. So I'm just tired of, online researching. Why don't I go to the real estate tour and I could actually ask real questions to real people? It just, that'll just eliminate a lot of the noise, because right now you can't debate with people. I mean, I try to share and people are like, no, man, you romanticize it. I was like, maybe because I'm smiling when I think about it, but it's like, y'all not gonna steal my joy. I'm going back and I'm gonna have a great time. And, if it plans out, the real estate tour will help me really roadmap real action steps, so maybe it's not tomorrow, but maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years. I was listening to your journey where you said it took you, I think, 5 years to make it. So it's like, really, I know I'm gonna come back. I had a great time. I said, well, you know what, let's make it real. I really want to learn as much as I can. So like I said, I think I stayed away a whole 3-4 days before I was emailing Tasha again.
Well, I like how you keep saying, let's make it real. Let's make it real.
Make it real.
And so people will be always asking, why you name it the real South Africa? Because I want people to see exactly what you see.
And that's exactly what it is.
Yep. To me, it was a very simple thing. Because, for example, you took a few days since you when you got back to ultimately want to come back. So if I said to you right now, if I would have said this to you before, you'd be like, yeah, he just want me to buy a package. I actually don't. I know if people want to come, they will come. Yeah, but if you want to come, I want you to come proper, and then you work with us, we will sort you out. But I will tell you this. If I told you right now, for all those years, 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, we didn't do much because we were trying to get our life sorted out so we can give it here in 2018. If I was coming here 3 and 4 times a year, spending 2 weeks at a time, that doesn't sound unreasonable, do it?
Not now, but it did before. Before. Oh man. You got to read my brain. So people are already saying, man, why are you going back? That's expensive, man. It's expensive. Really? And I was like, okay, if you want to say expensive, I'll give you the plane ticket. Okay, let's for argument's sake. Okay, let's say the plane ticket is expensive. Although I plan ahead. I was like, but man, when you get there, I said, are you looking at this conversion rate? I mean, look, once you get there, it's golden. I mean, so people tell me all the time, man, the plane ticket is too high. Okay, put it this way: when I found my first trip, I booked the trip to Hawaii. And then I came back, and this little white South African lady just kept calling me. She was nice. She wasn't trying to sell me. She was just like, I'm just gonna give you all the information. The package to South Africa was cheaper than my 7-day cruise in Hawaii.
Yeah,
Now
so
the
sounds
plane
like
ticket was more. Then I was like, wait a minute, that don't sound right. How can 10 days in Africa be cheaper than 7 days in Hawaii? And then I found your station or your YouTube channel. I was like, all right, let me just look at their prices. And once again, your prices are cheaper than some Caribbean packages. And I'm in Texas. I can get to the Caribbean pretty easy.
Yeah.
But I was like, it just, so I don't know if it's the plane ticket or what, but people tell me all the time, man, you just went. Why would you even think about? So I hadn't even, matter of fact, I've only told like 5 people. I'm not even telling people this time. I'm just going to go. I'm just going
they
to
can know now because you on this live.
I don't live my life seeking consensus. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I build my plan and I go for it. So
Yeah. And so you remind me of when I was in my 40s.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. But no, because I don't live by committee. I just do. And because what I used to do, I would literally be online. I used to use kayak.com to find my, and I would go in there. Back then, this was 2011, 2012, early days. The highest, it was every day they had a flight, maybe 2 flights out of Dulles, which is in DC. And the flights would fluctuate as low as 600 and something round trip. 800, between 6 and 800.
Oh, good.
Bro, I wasn't sticking around. That $600 was like $8 a minute.
Listen, if you haven't heard me say this before, I will tell you. This man was watching the flights to the point. The thing is, I was in the office every now and then, and he worked from home. He would be checking tickets in between doing work. I would get a phone call on a Monday.
I'm out
Taj,
Thursday.
I'm leaving Thursday.
I'll be back.
He's leaving to the airport. I'm like, what? He's like, if you can go, great. If you can't change your schedule, I'm out. I'm like, you just gonna leave me here like that?
That's wrong. That's wrong.
He was like, I love you, but a brother got to roll. I'm like, for real.
Yeah.
He would, every time he found the ticket, he was like, the ticket's it's $690, it's $700. He literally would be like, if the ticket's cheap, I will figure out the rest. And that's what he would do.
Yeah.
I get both. I get my benefits through Delta, but maybe I need to start looking at kayak or something else.
Yeah. Man, I would do that. And then, of course, I was driving. So I would rent a car at the airport. And I knew everywhere I was going. When like these places were very unfamiliar. And that's something that I want to add to the conversation. We want people to come here and get familiar and being comfortable with being here. It takes 2 days, 3 at the most, to shed all that stuff.
Yes.
Just to get it away from you. And then you start feeling comfortable. I mean, we get people that come here, they get too comfortable. They act like they in America.
I'm like, hey,
you
know you gotta leave, right?
Yeah. Hey, or you're not a U.S. you're a U.S. citizen, not a South African citizen, because people get so comfortable.
You do.
You get real comfortable. I mean, I think people get more comfortable being here than they do in their hometowns.
They let all their hair down.
They'd be like, phew.
Like you say, you at the barbershop cutting it up. I'm like, dude, you at home? Yes.
Yes.
I feel at home. You eating good food. You're hanging out with your people, and it's easy to meet people here. Like you really don't feel like you meet any strangers.
No, and I love what you said though, and it was just conversation. It wasn't about what do you do. The only person asked me my age was a sister from Houston, from the States, but it just really, it just, and I've been to Cape Town before, but like you said, I was there. I walked around one time and I was like, yep, I remember where everything is. Obviously I hadn't had that opportunity in Joburg because I didn't get to see any of Joburg last time, but you do get comfortable and familiar. I mean, it's just, I was just sitting outside because they had the free shows out at the waterfront. Sometimes, so go back to what Tasha said earlier, and Mark, you don't want a minute by minute itinerary. You want to just have some breathers, some free time. Because I'm telling you, you're gonna have some moments where you need to sit down and just like, man, I can't believe this is what they told me. What they told me Africa was, and what the reality is. You're gonna have one of those moments where it's just gonna sit you down. It's like, I can't believe I listened to that mess.
Yeah.
It just,
No. I've actually been talking to people like they just got here. They've been here a few days. We stop by, check on them. Sometimes we don't get a chance to see everyone, unfortunately. I think we caught you.
Yeah.
But some people, man, I've been walking with people And they just like, hold on, let me stop. Let me.
You have to.
And they just like, and are you okay? Like, you think something's like medically wrong, and they're like, no, I'm just
Overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed. My head is just like, I just cannot believe this was happening to me. And what I'm saying, and you know, now I recognize it, but at first it was like, you okay?
No.
And they like, no, I'm just.
More about this, but this is kind of unique, as some of you guys may already know. You already know because there's not too many opportunities for us to come to Africa to look at properties and have an opportunity to buy property and then to obviously do it properly. And we're bringing in all the professionals that you're going to need. So if you don't ask the question, it's kind of like not my fault. Okay? But so ask the questions. You know, anything you need to know about purchasing the property, you know, can I put it in my name? All these great wonderful things. That's what we're doing here. And then, of course, tomorrow we will all board buses and we'll start heading out to various states for a few days. Have a good time. Hopefully, always try to have a good time as we're doing this. It's not that it's not even work as far as I'm concerned. Because it's fun hanging out in South Africa, going to different places, seeing the homes, going to the estates, seeing how proper South Africans live versus what we do. Yes.
With us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.